everyone. Welcome. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and you got plenty of time to set up and join me for today's Express Core and Stretch class. Right, Fred? Today's class is going to focus, of course, on the core. We're going to do some opening of those hips. We're going to do a little strengthening and stretching of those hamstrings as well. So there will be a little bit of upper body engagement. You don't have to have any props today. There's one move. We're going to do some good mornings. If you've done good mornings before, if you're really great at keeping that nice flat back and you want to add a little bit more challenge to that move, you're welcome to bring a dumbbell or whatnot that you can hold, but I'm not going to use any weights today. We're just going to do some total body resistance and movement activities so that we can feel our best. This class, like everything else, is great for desk people. So good if you've been traveling and you're sitting around a lot and you're feeling really tight in your legs, or maybe you're staying home and you are one grafting with the couch. I hear ya. That's gonna be me this weekend. So let's stretch it out and feel good. All right, I'm grabbing my bird. We got one more minute before we get started. I encourage you to have some water nearby. There's not going to be any specific water breaks, but you know your body, and if you need to take a sip of water, you take a sip of water, okay? Just going to check on things on the interweb up here. I also hope that if you have time, you'll consider sticking around and joining us for a cardio kick butt right after this class. Like, where's this class? Here it is. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Let's go ahead, get started. Let's just get started with a little bit of stillness, because I know that during the holidays, things can feel a little crazy. I think I don't like having this light on. So I'm going to turn that light off so you can see my amazing face a little bit better. All right, so standing with your feet either side by side or just about hips width distance apart. I want you to really start to sneeze. No, you don't have to sneeze. But it is a great way to really begin to relax. Allow those fingertips to hang heavy down towards the floor. Maybe you noticed that I did and you're joining me. In closing your eyes, we're just going to take a couple moments to really tune into our breaths, into our bodies, and think about and take in how we're feeling today. Because every day is different, so no matter what else is going on, we can use these next couple of breaths to just quiet our bodies, quiet our mind. Notice where you have the weight in your feet. I know typically when I start standing here that I really shift the weight forward into my toes. So if you're like me, let's go ahead and bring that weight back into our heels. You can take a slight bend in your knees. You don't have to have those legs locked down. I don't want you to pass out on me anyway. But do your best to not have those glutes pressed towards the back of the room. So we're taking that arch out of that back if you have it. Little squeeze of those glutes, a little gentle tuck of the pelvis, to just do your best to stack your head over your heart, your shoulders over your hips, over your heels, and really grounding through all four corners and the sides of the feet to the floor. So we already have those bellies drawn in and engaged. Notice now what's happening with your chest. Frequently when we're stressed or overwhelmed, there gets to be a lot of rounding in that upper body, like we're closing in on ourselves. So if you notice when I mentioned that you are rounding through those shoulders, I want you to draw them down and back. Not at the expense of that rib cage though, so don't let that rib cage flare out. Pull that belly in once more. Still keep that tuck of the pelvis. I know there's so many things happening. We'll take 2 more breaths right here and then we'll relax a little bit. Let me just look at my notes. Okay, yay. All right, let's get our upper body a little bit warmed and then, oh, I forgot to start the timer. And then we'll bring those stretches into our lower body before we get into our first circuit of the day. So once again, if you want to adjust your feet a little bit, mine are hips width distance apart, shifting the weight back into your heels, pulling that belly in, keeping that pelvis tucked under, chest nice and open. We're going to bend your knees. Inhale those arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and check back in with your rib cage. Did it flare out? If so, draw back in. Exhale. Arms come down. So now just think about it for these next 2 breaths. Inhale up. Keep that belly in nice and tight. Shoulders away from ears. Exhale down. One more time, just like that. And on our next big breath, we're going to keep those arms up overhead. Keep those arms up overhead. Draw those shoulder blades towards each other. Knit your rib cage in. Chin is neutral towards the floor. Left arm stays up towards the ceiling. Right arm is going to come down and just reach those right hand fingertips towards the floor. Like you're drawing them down your leg. Make sure that chest is still open towards the front of the room. So not collapsing to the floor. Maybe you barely bent over. You can either keep stretching that left arm up toward the ceiling or bring a little bit more side body into it. Inhale to come up. Both arms come up to center. Exhale. Other arm goes down. Really find that nice length. A big push through the right side hip to the opposite wall. And once again, make sure you're not collapsing your chest to the floor. So go through a couple more. Move at your pace, at whatever your breath feels like. I always like to use that inhale to first find some length and then exhale to really come a little bit deeper into the stretch, just to make sure that with that inhale, I'm drawing the core in nice and tight so that I'm in control. I want you to be in control too, because, you know, you're here, you're amazing, you're worth it. And I want you to finish feeling good. So the more that you really take in the idea of keeping that belly drawn in for support, you know, like every inhale, you're tightening that support belt. All right, exhale, bring those arms down towards the floor. Next up is where you might want to have a chair nearby, because we're going to do just some gentle hip openers. So balancing on one leg, grounding that foot towards the floor, and you can still have a bend in that knee. Maybe you have your hands on your hips, or maybe you have your hands on a chair. We're just going to kick forward and back. But I want you to do the best you can to keep this upper body up nice and tall. So no leaning towards the side or wobbling too much. I don't want you to be kicking such that you're really getting some movement happening with that upper body. Upper body stays nice and tall and strong. Awesome. Let's switch to the other side. I know you got a couple more in than I did. That's okay. I can get a couple more in later. So you're just working with your own personal range of motion. And you can experiment with your toe pointed and your toe flexed, because it's just going to change how much of that leg is involved, and find what feels good for you today. Awesome. All right, once again, plant both feet on the floor. Take a moment, shake it out. Give yourself a couple circles with those hips in one direction, and then circles with those hips in another direction. This is a fun, easy way to open those hips up. Awesome. Ground through your feet again. Draw that belly in. Find some length through the crown of your head. Rebalance on one leg. We're going to do some tick and tuck. Ooh, ooh. I'm still feeling a little soreness. I mentioned it if you joined me on Monday. I'm just having some discomfort through that right side of the body. So I'm moving mindfully. Maybe I'm not getting as high of a range of motion as I normally would. And that's fine, because I'm moving smart, and I know you are too. All right, go ahead, plant that foot down. Let's switch to the other one. If it took you a little bit longer to switch to find that balance, that's totally okay. Ooh, using that squeeze of the glutes. So we're not using momentum to lift the leg up. You're using your mindfulness. Let's get 2 more on this side. Oh my gosh, 1. Great. I wrote all this down in a way that I thought seemed so sensical. All right, so we're going to engage a little bit more of the body now. So come towards the top of your mat. We're gonna add in a hip opener with a little bit more of a balance move and a leg challenge. So keeping that left foot down on the floor, whatever it looks like I'm doing. I promise my left foot's down on the floor. We're gonna step that right foot back carefully to come into a lunge. So I'm bringing the back ball of the foot to the floor, doing your best to keep those hips squared towards the front of the room as well. So we're not coming into warrior two, we're not turning towards the opposite wall, hips still stay forward. Now bring a little bit more weight into your front leg heel. We're gonna press into it to lift ourselves up. You can bring your two feet together, belly drawn in, draw that knee up. Now bring it out to the side, open up that hip, bring it back in through the center, and now we're gonna step back into our lunge. So carefully step back into that lunge. You can take a slight bend of that back knee. Maybe your lunge isn't as deep, you just have a slight bend through that right leg. Transfer more weight into your front right heel. We're gonna carefully lift ourselves up. Maybe you can come right into your knee drive and open up towards the side. Let's do one more like that on this side. So step back, carefully plant that foot down. No slamming the foot down towards the floor. Even if your step is shortened, take a moment, square those hips forward. Ooh, feel that nice stretch throughout the right leg, through the right glute, belly in, weight in your left heel. We draw it up and forward. Maybe your toes came to the mat, and then you draw your knee up, open, in, and down. Shake it out. Got some good work in that left leg to support us to come out of those lunges. Let's do the same thing on the right. So I know my step's going to be a little shorter because my right leg is hurting, so just carefully placing that left leg behind me, still finding a bend in the right knee. Knees aren't going past toes. Ooh, hips forward towards the front of the room. Do you feel that great opening through your hip, and maybe even a nice calf stretch if you're lucky? All right, transfer the weight into your right foot, either toes come together, and then draw knee up, open to the side, back into center. You might take a moment just standing before you then send it right back into your lunge. Great work. Square those hips forward. Make sure your hip didn't turn out to the wall. It's normal if it did. Step it back in, knee drive, open to the side, in. Last one, here we go. Step it all the way back. Great work. Step it back in, drive that knee, pull that belly in, hips tucked, open out to the side, back in, and down. Oh, you are so amazing. All right, go ahead, open those feet nice and wide. Take a big inhale, stretch those arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, rain those fingers down towards the floor. Take a moment, practice with this nice flat back. Ooh, reach those fingers towards the floor. If it's hard for you to reach the floor, bend those knees. Shift the weight into your heels. So either you have nice straight legs, hands on the floor. Think about what's happening with your hips. Frequently when people come into these stretches, they bring their fingers really close towards their toes, and their hips stretch towards the back of the room. I want you to stack those hips on top of your heels. So you probably need to gently shift the weight forward. Remember, you can bend your knees. The more you send those hips up, the more stretch that we're getting into the hamstrings, and that's the goal. And if you need to, you can always have those hands a little bit more forward. Maybe your shoulders are coming in to help because your hamstrings are really tight. Let's take a twist here. So one hand stays down on the floor, send the opposite arm up towards the ceiling. Do your best to really press into your supporting hand palm and open your chest towards the wall that you're looking at. So instead of shoulders down towards the floor like a barge, you're going to stretch that opposite shoulder up towards the ceiling, working to stack them too like a boat. Oh, do you feel that big stretch through your lats as well? And on your exhale, release that hand down towards the floor. Other hand comes up towards the ceiling. Oh, so many great stretches to start with. Awesome. Check in with those shoulders, not flat towards the floor, stacked on top of each other. Press into the supporting hand palm, stretch your fingers towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands down towards the floor. Let's go ahead, heel, toe, your feet in a little closer towards each other. Take a moment here in your dangle. If your fingers don't touch the floor, that's okay. You can grab hold of your opposite elbow. Shift the weight into your heels, bend your knees if you need to. Slowly roll yourself up. Let's get one more stretch into those hamstrings. So much stretching for today's core and stretch. You're welcome. All right, and kick one heel forward. One heel forward, we're gonna take a slight bend in this back knee, and then whatever your range of motion, fingertips stretch down towards the floor like we're reaching towards our toe. You can feel a big stretch through that straightened leg. Swoop all the way up towards the ceiling, arms come up overhead. Exhale, relax, arms down towards your side, send those glutes back behind you. Ooh, inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Nice, one more. Exhale, arms come down towards the side. Start to bend that knee. Glutes stretch back behind you. Toe flexes towards your face. Reach towards that toe. Lift up. Great, and switch those legs. I'm gonna shake it out between. Send one leg forward. You're gonna bend that back knee. Relax those arms down. Glutes go towards the back of the room. Toe flex towards your face. Getting that cat involved as well. And then lift yourself up. A nice hamstring stretch. Swoop. Oh my gosh. Words seem hard today. Clearly, I need more coffee. Last one right here, everybody. Yay. Okay, let's come on into our first set of movement. We're gonna go for, I'm gonna be real nice. We're gonna do 45 seconds of work. We'll take a quick 10 seconds to just, shake it out if you need to. Transition to the other side safely. And we've got a total of 3 moves. So we're gonna do each of them twice. And making things easy today for our sets, one move you're gonna do on one side and then the other. So you barely have to remember anything. All right, so our first move of the day is with those feet down on the floor. We're gonna bring those elbows up. I'm not actually touching my head though. My fingers are just near my head, keeping that chest open, keeping that rib cage knit in. We're going to draw our elbow towards our knee. I lied. We're gonna draw our knee towards our elbow. So doing your best to really bring that knee up as opposed to bringing that elbow down. So the chest is a big, proud T. You got that upper back working, and then we're gonna cross it across our body, just doing your best to drive that elbow towards the knee. So we're getting a little bit of the front lower abs working, we're getting a little bit into the obliques. We're gonna stick with one side for 45 seconds. We're gonna switch to the other side, elbow to knee, and then cross body crunch for 45 seconds. And then our third move is a delightful good morning. So this is one that if you want to use a weight, you can. Uh-oh, I made music start playing, and I don't know how to stop it. Okay, I stopped it. Headphones. All right, so for the good morning, feet are gonna be a little bit wider than shoulders with distance apart. Taking a slight bend in your knees, you're gonna cross your arms to your opposite shoulders, and you're just gonna hinge forward with that nice flat back. You're gonna feel that big stretch and engagement in your hamstrings again, and then you're gonna squeeze your glutes, belly in tight, drive those hips forward to stand up. If you need to, you can always also just have your arms relaxing down towards the side, but I'm gonna discourage you today from having those arms up overhead, because frequently arms up overhead for this one can make you do some weird stuff with your back. But remember, you can make it more challenging by holding onto a weight right here at your chest. And if you're feeling really tight, you might notice that you can barely hinge forward for the good morning, and that's okay. All right, let's get started. So many good stretches. All right, so first we got that elbow to knee cross body crunch in 3, 2, 1. Begin. So elbow to knee, cross body. Now you can move this one really fast, or you can take things slow and mindfully, because the real challenge here, remember, is getting that knee to come up as opposed to bringing your elbow just towards the knee. I like to use that exhale to drive the knee up, and that also helps you to engage that core a little bit more. So moving slowly and with control just means, that I like to think that I'm working extra hard. Ooh, I'm feeling this in my standing leg as well. I imagine you are too. We got 3 seconds left. Awesome. Take a break, maybe shake it out. We got the same move going on the other side. elbow to knee crunch, side body. With these arms pretty much up and active, we have to engage that core a little bit more. You got some balance happening to try and move with control as you draw that leg up. Maybe one side was a little easier than the other. You can even play around with the idea of elbow comes in front of your knee, elbow comes behind your knee. And you might notice I'm doing my best to keep my triceps kind of in a line, almost like if you were holding a rod over those shoulders. Ooh, yes, this is why we did some great warm-ups. Shake it out, shake it out. We got those good mornings next. So planting those feet down on the floor, we're just going to take a slight bend of our knees. Here we go. Hinging forward at the hips, working to bring your chest about parallel to the floor. You don't need to go any lower than that. And then it's a press through the heels, squeeze in the glutes to lift up. Keep going. Keep that core in nice and tight. Oh, you might have a bigger bend in your legs than I do. That's totally okay. I'm feeling tight, but I know that I'm generally pretty flexible. And if you're like me and maybe you're flexible or a little hypermobile even, you really got to focus on not just being a loose noodle and using those muscles. All right, we're coming back to our elbow to knee side body crunch, and then knee to the front. You ready? Lift those arms up, draw your belly in, find that straight line, and begin. Maybe you're moving a little faster, round two. Maybe you're working on driving that knee a little bit higher up this time around. Feeling a little bit more warm, probably can enjoy a slightly larger range of motion. Ooh. Try not to completely lock out this standing leg. Also, that was one of the weirdest things for me when I started doing Bikram yoga, and they would say, lock your knee. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Okay, oh, we made it, y'all. That was getting a little hard at the end. What did you think? I bet you did an even better job than I did. All right, ready? Plant that opposite foot down, chest lifted. Here we go. If you want to add an extra challenge while you're working out, talk back to me. When you have a continuous conversation going, it is like a whole nother exercise party. So if you're in a room by yourself, let's have a conversation. Let's see how many times I accurately respond to whatever you're saying. Me too. All right, y'all. We got just about 10 seconds left right here. Then one more round of good mornings. Then we're going to hit the floor. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. You're awesome. Did you go right to the beat? I bet you did. All right, so plant those feet down. Maybe shake it out for a second. Legs are getting tired. Arms crossed. Here we go. Send those hips back behind you like you're trying to press your bum against the wall. You're just going to make a silly little print. Oh, it's going to be so gentle. Keep that back flat. So if you are coming down and you find that as you're coming down, you're rounding, don't go down that far. Just go down to whatever point you can still continue to enjoy this nice flat back. Remember, every day is different. If you keep at this, you can always increase your depth, range of motion, strength. Oh, we did it, everyone. All right. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water, just a teeny little sip though as we hit the floor. You know what, while we're feeling nice and warm, let's come right into our other strength section. So we'll give ourselves a quick little cat-cow right here. Yes, wow, that feels so good. Oh my gosh. Let's get the side body into the party. So looking over to one side from a little bit more of a neutral tabletop. I'm not letting my belly sag all the way down towards the floor. At least I'm not trying to. Winkety wink. All right. You can press yourself back into child's pose. You can sit yourself up and twirl your wrists around just to stretch those wrists out a little bit. Let me tell you what's coming up next. Okay. I'm excited. I'm excited for this next move. All right, we're going to do one leg at a time once again. I'll lift my inside leg up to begin with. So we're going to start with one knee down and tabletop. Sole the foot up towards the ceiling. You're going to squeeze your glute to do a glute kickback. And then the opposite leg, toe tucked under towards the floor. You're going to press your knee up off the floor. So just take a moment in bear. So you're going to switch from a glute kickback to bear, right back into that glute kickback. If you need to take a little break between, that's totally okay. You know what? Just for time's sake, we're going to switch this move down to 40 seconds. We just shaved a whole 5 seconds off. 40 seconds and then 5 seconds rest in between. All right, so that's move number 1 and 2. Move number 3, we're gonna come on down towards the floor and we're just gonna do any version of Superman you wanna do. I'll talk you through it once we get there. Let's just do this, y'all. We start in 3, 2, 1, begin. So one leg, glute kick back, then push off the floor to come into a Superman. Glute kick back, I'm sorry, not into a Superman, into a bear. How long, how much effort can you put into keeping the sole of that lifted leg flat up towards the ceiling? And I have those hips once again squared down towards the floor. Hands, palms are right underneath of the shoulders. If you need to, if you have wrist trouble, oh, I have a bit of a headache. You can do the same thing. I need to take a second. You can do the same thing with your hands, forearms down on the floor. Awesome. Let's go ahead, switch to the other side. Shake those wrists out for a sec if you need to, then lift that leg up. Here we go. Glute kick back, bear. Glute kick back, single leg bear. Those abs are firing like crazy for this single leg bear. Working to just barely lift that knee up off of the floor. You can take a second to pause there to really challenge yourself. If you want to take a break, try and take an active break. Right there, right? Who am I to talk after that break I took on the last round? Make sure that you don't have that chin tucked towards your chest, so your eye gaze is forward of your fingertips, no wrinkles in your neck. Awesome. Lower yourself all the way down towards the mat. I'm going to keep my arms in a W, tops of the feet on the floor, just working to lift up that amazing W. Like, wow, look at me. So tops of the feet pressed down to the floor so your kneecaps engaged. Your glutes are squeezed. Your posterior chain is firing. Belly button stays down on the floor as you work to really use your strength to lift yourself up. So you're not pushing off of the floor with your hands at all. If you need to, you can even have your hands stretching behind you. Your choice where you want to put those arms. Awesome. Press yourself back up into tabletop. We got one more round of those single leg glute kickbacks. They start right now. So kick it back, press it up. Oh my gosh. These are hard, I think. What do you think? But you know what? I'm still going to keep going. Doing my best. This side of my body is the side that hurts. So maybe you need to give yourself a glute kick back and bring both feet down towards the floor for your bear. I want you to find a way to keep moving. And for me, this is how I can keep moving in a smart manner. Get a little bit of both move. 3 more seconds, y'all. Awesome. Let's get ready. Switch to the other side. I know I'm feeling a little stronger on this side, so I can do my single leg action. But if you find that this side isn't your strong side, if you need to put that opposite foot down so you can push up into bear, just hovering with that back knee off the floor, you do it. I would rather put this foot down and just keep moving than to be like, nope, I can't do it. I'm done. Or maybe you just move a little bit slower. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower yourself all the way down. Let's get the last of these Supermans in. I like the idea of arms behind you. Oh no, there goes the music again. Music, thank you. Technology, you are such a jerk. One of the funniest things about my phone is I don't have a lot of music downloaded for the Apple Store. Do you have those knees engaged? I hope you do. Taps the feet pressed down. So pretty much the only song that for some reason usually picks up no matter where I am is Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone. Oh my gosh, let's press ourselves back into child's pose. You earned it. So I'm also pretty surprised whenever the song that starts to play is not Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone. All right. You can have those arms as straight in front of you as feels good. If you're having any discomfort or pain in your shoulders, take that generous bend of your elbows, or maybe you give yourself a chance to really separate those shoulder blades with your arms all the way behind you. No matter what, if you have your head down on the mat and those glutes a little bit high, your head's below heart level, it's going to help to bring your heart rate down. A little gentle inversion. Come back to your breath. Slow your exhale down. Great work. Let's take one more hip opener. We started with them. Let's finish with them as well. We're getting a nice stretch through the shoulders and calves before we get there. So starting back in tabletop, tuck your toes under, send your hips up towards the ceiling, pedal through your heels as much as feels good for you for a nice little stretch in down dog. All right, let's transition into three-legged dog. So one leg stays down the mat, and you're going to stretch that opposite leg up towards the ceiling as much as you can. Keep those hips squared towards the mat, and then we're going to shift the weight forward. Draw your knee towards your elbow. Cross your foot across the mat. We're going to lower down into pigeon. Wiggle, walk your back knee back as much as possible. I ran out of space. It's okay. And instead of bringing your bent leg glute towards the floor, bring your straight leg hip flexor towards the mat. It might touch, it might be eons away, and either of these are okay. So either you keep your hands on the floor for a little bit of support here, especially if the stretch is really intense through your bent leg, or if you're not feeling it as much, you lower yourself down to the mat. Oh my gosh, I forgot that I started my timer late. So we are at time. Let's go ahead, get that other side. Tuck your toe. Send your right leg all the way back if that's the one you did first. Release it to the floor. Switch legs. Send it all the way up towards the ceiling. Bring it forward. Elbow towards knee. Other toe crosses the mat. Walk. Wiggle your leg back. Just taking a couple last breaths here together in our pigeon pose. You can release yourself all the way down. And I hope that as we finish this class, you'll consider sticking around, looking for the link. You can find it on Facebook. You can also find it on the Fitness Handshake under files, and the fast jump for cardio kickback, which starts in just about 10 minutes. All right, y'all, it's me, Jessica. Just saying thanks so much for coming. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a great beginning to the holiday season. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out, and I'll see you soon.